Pregame.tv, welcome back. Brady Kannon, Steve Fezzik talking about prop betting in the NFL, and usually we just get selective props on Sunday night, Monday night. Not a lot of opportunity there, but when the playoffs start, the books start putting up props all across the board. This is, of course, began with the 1985 Bears when the refrigerator scored the touchdown, and they paid out all those tickets at 20 to 1, 10 to 1, whatever, across the board. And Jay Kornegay really took that and ran with it at the old Imperial Palace, now over at LVH. And so I love betting props. I have some of my best bets to be props. Would you agree?
Yeah, you're really good at it, and you do it throughout the season on every game where you can, find those edges. I am more the recreational player when it comes to props, but I will do quite a few of them when it comes to the Super Bowl because it is so fun. And what I like, probably most of all, what I like about it for the Super Bowl, which is almost more of a party than a football game, you've typically got something to root for from the whistle from the first whistle to the last whistle. Every quarter, every play, who's catching this pass? It's a lot of fun.
Probably the biggest, trappiest prop, and we're not going to talk about any specific props in the games, although I do have a prop we talked about off air that's going to be part of my package this week that's really strong. But a couple things that they try to trap the public on every year. It's the 3 consecutive score prop. There's always...
I fell for it the first year, and then I saw it starting to happen all the time. I go, gosh, what a sucker I am. I mean, it happens all the time.
It's like you look for like the Michigan State-Stanford game.
Sure.
Low scoring, evenly played throughout. No one really opened up a lead, but yet Sparty found a way to score 3 times in a row. Because what happens is you really don't need to score 3 times in a row because someone's going to score, and then they need to score twice in a row, and it just happens over and over.
Well, and it carries over to the second half, too. And sometimes you forget about that. A team gets a score to end the first half, then they get the ball in the second half, they score again, they get one more and a turnover, and there you go.
Yeah, and I once lost a bet on will there be 2 consecutive scores, which is an absolute lock, and I bet the yes. And there was a Super Bowl that was high scoring that just went back and forth the entire way. And I still remember that against the old Millennium book. A couple other things as far as props that I like to look for here in the playoffs. Obviously, with the elite quarterbacks, you're going to if you like them over, bet them early. You like them under, bet them late because they do nothing. But I mean, the recreational public is going to. You think they're going to look at Aaron Rodgers and bet under? Not a chance, right?
Right, exactly. I like to look. I had some success last year in the Ravens and the 49ers with a certain number of tackles for specific players.
Right.
And you take a guy like Navarro Bowman for the 49ers, who last year not a lot of people knew about. And I'm a 49er fan growing up in the Bay Area. I knew this guy was a monster, and I think the total on him was maybe 6 or 7 tackles, and he ended up with maybe 12. And then I bet under on the amount of tackles for Ray Lewis. That line was jacked up because, Ray Lewis, his final game, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But he wasn't nearly the Ray Lewis he was for so many years, and he ended up with about 3 or 4 tackles.
And of course, you get shut down corners and who they're going to be on. That becomes a big part of the handicap. The weather. You're looking at our team's going to be running the ball more. They're going to be passing the ball more. The kicking game, the whole aspect of it.
Well, this weekend with some of the weather back in the East, the Philadelphia game, the Green Bay game. I mean, you could look at maybe a total number of fumbles. Usually that line is maybe 2.5 or something like that.
Oh, no. I will bet you under 2.5 even in a blizzard and a snowstorm. Under 1.5, lay $1.50 is pretty much universal.
Okay.
1.3 fumbles lost per game is a good number. So if you put up 1.5, it's perfectly fine. Or you put up 2, ties lose. Same thing.
With the weather that we're getting and frigid cold in Green Bay,
you might want to go over 1.5.
You might want to go over because what game was it? Was the snowstorm in Philadelphia with the Lions and the Eagles earlier this year? They couldn't hold the ball at all.
I really think the slick ball when you get freezing rain and the like that's where and of course they just price it based upon what the traditional average is.
Right.
Usually set interceptions at like 2.2, fumbles at 1.3, and so because of that, I think you're right that probably. You're in good shape going ahead and playing that fumbles over, plus money across the board in any bad weather game.
What about sacks? Sacks is usually what, about 4.5, 5?
4.5. It's like soccer. Soccer's 2.5, NHL's 5.5, sacks are 4.5, 4 to 4.5. Yeah.
And you've got the Colts with a suspect offensive line, the Kansas City Chiefs, who are a very good pass rush defense. Might be a game where you take a look at a prop like that.
Very good. So just a couple of brainstorming ideas that we're looking at with all these games. And I personally find it's very unusual. If I spend 2 or 3 hours researching a game, it's not like I'm going to come out and say, oh, I absolutely love the Bengals this week. But a lot of times I will come out and say, I absolutely love this one specific prop, just something that works for me, something you may want to look to in your own handicapping, pregame.tv. I want to wish everybody good luck this week in the wagering. Brady, as always, it's a pleasure. Hopefully we get VR back next week.
Happy New Year, my friend.
Happy New Year to you and your family.
Let's start off 2014 with a few winners.
Very good. Thanks for joining us, as always, here at pregame.tv, and we will see you next week.